Hey guys, thanks for stopping by again. Just a quick update on progress on the 61 Impala. Motor is almost the same state as you saw in my previous video. I've got wire loom spacers arrived from Detail Master, and we've got spark plug wires run. Coil wires still hanging there waiting to get hooked up to coil, and we've found a location where it seems not going to interfere with firewall and what else is going on in the engine compartment, and we've mounted the ignition coil just on the back of the between the intake manifold and the cylinder head. And we'll run, once that dries, we just glued that a little while ago, and we'll run the coil wire down to the ignition coil, and that'll finish off the distributor completely. Added a little black piece of wire, and we're going to run that from the intake up to the brake booster for a vacuum brake booster assist. So that'll get glued in place once we get our master cylinder mounted. We seem like we have the clearance just between the valve cover on the left hand side of the motor and the firewall. That's going to be a tight fit, but it should work. One thing that I have noticed is that I might have a fitment problem with the alternator that I put on this motor. The original model came with a generator, which of course is a smaller diameter, and from my test fitting I think this alternator is going to hit the inner fender when I assemble the model. So what I may have to do here is cut this fan belt at the water pump pulley, and then down at the crank pulley, and shorten this to draw this alternator in more, because I think I have going to have a clearance problem, it looks like, on this side of the alternator. So we'll have to address that in the next couple of days. Other than that, motor's ready to go. Yeah, and we'll move on to the interior. We just finished that up. Hang on. See if we can get this thing in focus and show you how the interior turned out. Turned out alright. Did Molotow and bare metal foil on the door panels. Bare metal foil on a bit of the dash with Molotow again. Bare metal foil on the console. Did Molotow on the door handles, window cranks, little ashtray, little covers on the rear seats on the side. Got seat belts there, which I do out of solder, where I flatten them and knurl them out with my X-Acto knife to get a pattern of some kind on them, and then flatten them with a pair of needle nose flat nose, just to simulate kind of a shiny buckle end. And yeah, interior so far, I'm pretty happy with it. I can't think of any changes I want to make to that, and it's ready to be installed. And whoops, we're whacking our wires on our motor. Hang on. We got front suspension glued in place, firewalls glued in place just for test fit, and it's lightly glued, so if I got some issues with assembly in the end that I can break it off, but it's kind of temporary glued in place so I can start test fitting how this is all going to come together in the end. And it's like woodworking, measure 5 times and cut once. Well, with model building, it's test fit, test fit, test fit, test fit, and then glue. And once I did the made the seat belts for it, I just painted them just a kind of a lighter, it's kind of a greeny tan almost. It's a color we picked out in Model Air, and it's a nice medium color between the orange and the tan. It turned out good. I was going to show you guys, I don't know how this is going to focus, but we're going to try this. Hang on. Seat belts. That's the pattern I get when after I flatten it and knurl it with my X-Acto knife, and then I just use a pair of flat nose needle nose and just crimp the end and flatten the end just to kind of simulate a little shiny buckle. But it turns out pretty good, and you can just take it and hang on, you can take it because it's soft like solder and just bend it any way you want and just get a little angle to it, and it's pretty forgiving, so you can twist it and turn it in different ways to just simulate just a little seat belt laying on a seat. Anyway, I thought I'd show you quickly how I do seat belts. It's just a cheap, easy way to simulate belts without getting into photo etch and some of the aftermarket stuff, and if you're on a budget, it's a good way to do it. Anyway, where else are we? Chassis is not a whole lot to look at. Got firewall temporary glued in place, front suspension's done, and as I said, we reversed those spindles to get the front end lowered down. And I've got the right height where I wanted it. It looks really good. And as I said, we won't do the rear suspension until we're pretty much done with the model. Anyway, thought I'd give you guys an update on where we are, and once we get this this motor and alternator figured out on clearance, we'll be able to progress with body. I'm not sure how I'm going to handle the exhaust out the back. I've got an idea in the back of my hand I'm toying around with, but it means cutting the body and trying to work the tailpipe come out the side between the rear bumper and the rear wheels in the rear quarter panel. And I'm really reluctant on butchering the body, but we're still thinking and planning on that and just kind of mulling that over. But anyway, I thought I'd give you guys a quick update on what's going on. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.